Okay, Matthew Gardiner, you were speaking at the Housing Associations and Social Enterprise Conference that we held with Social Enterprise NI this morning. Can you just explain briefly what role social enterprise has in your business and how you think housing associations can foster it in delivering, economic, social and environmental benefits?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I think that the journey for Trafford Housing Trust has been from a local authority stock transfer organisation with a very public sector culture to a fairly commercially minded and neighbourhood minded housing association. But in the last year, we've repositioned around dealing with poverty, inequality and injustice. And at the same time, have realised that what we really are and should be describing ourselves as is a collection of social enterprises. What that has is perhaps not so much of a change in what we do, but a big change in the culture that we use to do it. And some of the measurements that we use now. So we operate off a triple bottom line method where we are as concerned about social outcomes, as environmental outcomes, as financial outcomes.
And can you tell me about the social enterprise you're running, bringing empty properties back into use?
It doesn't. The social enterprise that we run, Clean Start, is all about providing a really great environment for ex-offenders. One of the things that we realised fairly early on was that we'd got people who were coming out of prison very often on a very revolving door basis who were committing crimes in the neighbourhoods where our tenants lived, and they were understandably not very happy about that. And we said, well, what is it that we do? What is it within our supply chain that we do that we could use a workforce of offenders to help us with? And we hit on using empty properties. So we set up Clean Start. We take offenders directly from the prison gate. We give them a job. We give them a load of support. We teach them how to tie their shoelaces. If that's what it takes to get them and keep them in work, then we do it. And they do the dirty job of cleaning out our empty properties, turning them round, making them sparkle, doing the gardens, providing cleaning services for contractors who've got new build properties that they need to have cleaned before they can sell them or let them for the first time. And it's moved from being a really, really good social project to being something which is now commercial. It makes money for us while still delivering that fantastic social outcome.
With the big cuts in capital grant and other funding streams in England, are housing associations reverting to what might have been considered core business in terms of housing services, or are they continuing to develop and expand their broader role, including fostering social enterprise and a sort of a broader community investor role?
I don't think there's one answer to that. Some are retrenching, and I think that if our income stream was threatened, then we would need to retrench. But we're in a fortunate position where our income stream is holding up remarkably well. It means that we are able to choose how we spend some of the surpluses that we create, and we've chosen to place them in three ways. We're running a care and support business, paying living wage, providing the kind of service that your mum would want to get, and that costs. We build new homes, and we invest in local communities. So we're one of the group of associations who are actually going further into this world, because we think that in order to strengthen our communities, that strengthening our communities will strengthen our business, because people will be more able to pay rent to us because the benefits are disappearing.
Over the last few years in England, there's been a real shift in regulation of housing associations away from a compliance and inspection model under the Housing Corporation to a much more outcome-focused, risk-based approach with the HCA and an end of routine inspection. Has that change in regulation made a difference in your ability and your willingness to pursue a broader role, including in supporting social enterprise?
Completely. I speak as a former regulator. I have regulated a housing association when I worked at the Housing Corporation. I must have been pretty poor at it. And it was that compliance-based, checklist basis, so anybody could do it. The regulation now is much more about whether our risk profile within our business is one that is acceptable, and we push that quite a lot with our regulator. They're comfortable, we've got the highest ratings. And so long as we keep that level of comfort from the regulator, we keep our banks happy in terms of our covenants, what we then have is the absolute freedom. My board has the absolute freedom to determine the strategy of the organisation. That is such a huge step forward, and something which perhaps 5 years ago, when the inspection regime was abolished, when the TSA was abolished, I didn't realise quite how freeing up it was going to be in terms of what we did and how we did it.
You're a former, you are a stock transfer association. Can you explain the relationship that you have now with the local authority a number of years on, and maybe just touch on the work that you've been doing around the Trafford Master Plan? Yeah,
we've still got councillors on our board. We have the leader of the council on our board at the moment, which is good. Over 10 years we've evolved, I would say, a very close working relationship with the local authority. It has been stormy at times, but we're past that kind of stage now. They know that we are a key part of delivering in a world where there is far less public service delivery, and they support us in that. And for the last probably 6 years, we've been collaborating on a big regeneration master plan up in Old Trafford, where they have a lot of the land, we have a lot of the land, and we've agreed that we will put those two portfolios of land together in a formal land sharing agreement, and we will build out 1,400 new homes over a 10-year period at the price of demolishing about 400 of the existing properties. So a net gain of about 1,000 new homes. Land provided by the local authority, we provide all the capital, and we front it. The thing that the local authority was very keen for was that they didn't want to take any of the flak for the demolition of people's houses and so on and so forth. So we fronted that, and that's worked very well.
You've had a very brief introduction to housing and housing associations in Northern Ireland today. Would there be any pointers that you might give us as we look ahead?
Well, I think that thanks for that one. The position in Northern Ireland is very different from England, and that's one of the things which I knew when I got off the plane here. I perhaps hadn't realised just how different it is. That difference is that you are much more tightly regulated. You don't have some of the pressures yet from welfare reform and from I suppose losses of capital grant and things that we've been dealing with for a while. You have in Northern Ireland an opportunity to learn from the English experience. I'm not saying it's right, but some of the things that are likely to be coming down the track are going to require a change in the culture that there is within housing associations in order to match the new environment of public service austerity with an entrepreneurial culture in which housing associations can continue to fulfil their mission to help poor and disadvantaged people.
Matthew Gardiner, thank you very much.